All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mindgasms. I'm going to do another movie chat today with my regular participants here. We got Woke Centrist, of course, A.K.A. Dusty Cubes, A.K.A. Dustin Cubit. We got Scazio A.K.A. Sheezan Alamgir. And we got Chris James, A.K.A. Chris James. And we're going to talk about Snowpiercer, which I wanted to talk about because Chris had suggested that we talk about Parasite, that movie that came out last year, directed by Bong Joon-Ho and won some Academy Awards, and was all about class struggle. And Snowpiercer is also directed by Bong Joon-Ho, which is why I wanted to discuss it. And it's also about class struggle. And I had watched it before, but upon rewatching it, I realized, wow, this is a way more intense and awesome movie than I remembered it as. It's really dark and fucked up and violent, and it's all about basically, as I allude to in my subtitle here, there's a solution for climate change that backfires and causes an apocalypse, and it creates like basically the equivalent of a nuclear winter. So all of the world's last survivors are going around perpetually on train tracks on the frozen world, and basically we find out at one point that there's been cannibalism, and the train ends up being run by a theocratic dictatorship, and it's run by the rich people, and there's child slave labor involved too. And basically Chris Evans A.K.A. Captain America is all beardy and lower class poor person and leads a class war, a class rebellion against the people at the start of the train. And basically it ends up being the case that we're either going to take control from the rich people or derail the train and kill everyone. So it's a really exciting and really cheery movie. So do you guys want to say like your thoughts about it in general as we usually start off here?
Yeah, so upon rewatching this movie, it was like really intense, and there was a lot more to it than I remembered.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just pretty dark. Yeah, it looks like they were trying to prevent global warming with some kind of chemical or some kind of weather technology, and it backfired.
Yeah, exactly.
And the train seems to be like a planet. It has its own ecosystem. It's like self-sustaining and running for years.
Yeah.
Has its own order there.
Yeah. And as we find out, and this is a huge major spoiler for the end, of course, but as we find out, like right near the end, the way that the train can be running perpetually is that they replace the parts that have broken down with child slave labor. So they literally put children into these small compartments because they're so small that children are the only ones who can fit in there. So they just live their lives in this small compartment operating parts of the train, which is one of the darkest aspects of the movie.
Oh yeah, that's like that's revealed like at the very end, and it's like the ultimate. That's what turns Chris Evans was about to like take the mantle for being the guy that manages the engine in the front room.
Yep.
And then he sees that scene at the end where the kids are being used as parts to move the train forward, as its old parts are not replaceable anymore. That's what turns Chris Evans over the edge, and he decides to actually to start total anarchy and like blow the entrance.
Yeah, that's what makes him decide, fuck that shit. I'm destroying the train and possibly killing everyone because since everyone has been living in the train for so long, no one knows if it's actually even safe to be outside anymore, especially because the rich people have this propaganda or as we don't find out until the very end, possible propaganda about how if you go outside you die because they have what looks like corpses in the distance of this that's connected to this legend they tell about the last people who tried to escape the train and then they froze to death. And it's still clear at the end that it's not clear whether the survivors actually are going to freeze to death or not, which I like that ambiguity about it.
Yeah, well, you're kind of given a you're led to believe that it's like, yeah, super cold outside, but the guy having his arm out, he committed a crime early on, and obviously his arm turns into basically ice, and they mash it up. So yeah, you're at the start of the film, you're led to believe that it's super cold outside. Yeah, my review, I thoroughly enjoyed this. Actually, I'd only ever seen the last one we watched, which was Parasite, and I enjoyed that. Obviously, mentioned it, and then I watched Snowpiercer. I thoroughly enjoyed this one too. And then now today, I found myself going down the Wikipedia rabbit hole of oh shoot, what's his name?
Bong Joon-Ho.
That's right. Sorry, Bong Joon-Ho, and I'm like looking up his other films. Yeah, so now good suggestion, and I thoroughly enjoyed the film, and now I kind of want to go down the rabbit hole of his other films because I like it when, like, I don't know, and this I'm only seeing 2 films of his, but you know, when you find a director that has kind of like how we've talked about Tarantino before, where he has like multiple good, and they're similar, you know what I mean? Like the Snowpiercer is a dark kind of comedy-ish. There's violence, there's a plot where you don't know where it's kind of heading to, similar to Parasite. You know, it could go this way, it could go that way. You're left kind of, you know, wondering what's going to happen when he gets to the final train or whatever. Yeah, no, good. I kind of had a feeling it was like, I don't know, I didn't know it was Ed Harris because I didn't look before who was in the cast at all. I just watched it, but when I saw Ed Harris, I was like, man, I knew it was going to be somebody that was like A or B list famous Hollywood actor, as like the guy that, you know, is the head of the train, and ended up being Ed Harris. Cool. Yeah, good film though.
Did you guys like this one more or less than Parasite too? Because I like this one more than Parasite, definitely.
Ooh, yeah, good question.
Yeah, I thought this movie was better than Parasite. I wouldn't say that if you asked me a couple of days ago, but today when I was watching it, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I thought it had like it has more plot in it, like a lot of things going on in it, and like entertaining. Something's always going on, and that's interesting in this movie. I like that scene where they were fighting for the water. They thought they could get control of the water supply for the train, and they came across all these people that had their eyes covered, and
they had army.
Yeah, for some reason they blinded themselves, and they were just standing there to defend the water supply. And so the people at the back of the train were really desperate, and they started fighting without any weapons against these people, but they had an advantage because they were blind, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And all of a sudden,
you remember when they get into that when they break into that first next car that's after the back one too, and they find out that those basically those meal or protein bars that they've been getting fed for food are made out of bugs. And I remember thinking, like, the first time I watched it, because it was years ago, the first time I saw it, I remember thinking, oh my God, that's fucking gross. But then when I watched it this time, I thought, that's not as dark this time, because I know that there are people who are selling cricket protein bars now.
Yeah, that's true. And they're apparently really high in protein, but yeah.
Mm.
Seeing them
I
all mixed
thought they
up in
were
the
going
grinder.
to, like, I thought they were going to pull a Soylent Green on us.
Oh, yeah.
But they didn't. So I was about to be unsurprised. And since it wasn't Soylent Green, it was like something much less horrifying. It really didn't hit me that hard when we
Yeah.
find out that they're eating cockroaches and bugs or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah, I had to rewind that part. I was like, wait, are they eating like real humans? From their reactions, I thought, oh, they
Oh,
were
yeah.
eating real humans. Then it's like, oh, that's like regular people food.
Yeah.
All right. It's kind of strange though, but yeah, but I know that I've seen ads of like a lot of countries getting like cricket proteins, so I wasn't that surprised. Yeah.
Okay.
The,
So what about you, Dusty? What are your general thoughts on the movie?
Yeah, I like the Gimp Army, the twist in the end. Those two weird, fabulous bodyguard guys with the blazers and black shirts.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And all those basically soldiers that are fighting them in the epic battle scenes, those are pretty fucking cool outfits that they have too.
Yeah, and I really liked the dad from Parasite's performance. He was all hopped up on that chrono. Just stealing people's chrono. Then we find out at the end what he really needs it for.
Yeah.
I really liked when Ed Harris said "nice" before he got blown up. It's like nice, and then he explodes shortly after that.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
no idea why he says that. But yeah, I like that Captain America ate babies, and
Yeah. Yeah, we find that's one of the dark twists near the end too, right? Like, he was a fucking cannibal. He used to be a really bad person.
yeah, and I like that John Hurt served himself up for a meal, and then you find out that he's working with the front.
Yeah.
yeah.
Front of the train.
Yeah, that part's interesting too, how like Ed Harris tells him that the original plan was that he was supposed to work together with John Hurt's character. He was supposed to lead Ed Harris was supposed to lead the front, and the latter was supposed to lead the back, but then it all went to shit and became a straight up like rich people controlled theocratic dictatorship. That whole part is interesting too, especially when they get into that basically school car where they're teaching the children all this propaganda about the apocalypse and all the practices of the soldiers with the lower class people, especially about how they're supposed to praise the great leadership and stuff, how it's so blatantly a theocratic dictatorship.
Yeah, send a school teacher, just let her gat explode, and shot a couple people. And I also like that brown skinned ninja dude who's always just kicking people's asses.
Yeah, that part was
like
cool
unexplained.
too.
He had unexplained ninja skills. Like, we have no idea why this guy is apparently a ninja, but yeah, he is a ninja, and he lives in the back cart. I have no idea how he trains, but he got them out of a lot of sticky situations.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. And yeah, that part's cool too. In the school car when they're pretending to just show Captain America and his crew what's really going on, and then this like pleasant school teacher and everyone else, they pull out guns and they get into this epic gun battle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and also how
Yeah,
did
'cause
the
they
bald
thought-
guy go at the back? Like, how did they bypass their army and hit the rear? They,
I don't know. I mean, it seems like they had been planning it for a long time, right? Like, it seems like they had a much more detailed plan than what they revealed to us at the start, because they have like all these signals that work, and then they're really organized, and they even have weapons. Like, what is it that they start off with? Like Molotov cocktails to defeat the night vision that the enemies put on when they turn off all the lights or something.
oh yeah,
No,
they had
they
that
just had
strategy.
torches. They
Yeah,
just made a bunch of torches
yeah.
to defeat Night Vision dude. But we all know that it was orchestrated. So even the aspect that none of the guards in the lower cars had any bullets, that was completely orchestrated to give them a chance to pull off some type of revolution.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because the
Because we
guy
do see
at the
later on they
rear-
do in fact have bullets.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
weren't they
that was interesting
communicating?
too. Sorry?
Weren't they communicating, the front and the rear? The two guys, they had phones connection and they were like talking. The guy that offered his arm, that was kind of like a prophet at the rear cart. Yeah, that guy was
Yeah.
talking with the main dude that was running the train, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, that was interesting. And that part was interesting too, that that you guys just made me think about how at first, after there was like a first, it wasn't before the first gun battle, but it was after someone got, no, it was after someone got shot and before the first major gun battle, I think. Like, Chris Evans and everyone who was working with him, they were speculating about whether maybe their enemies had run out of bullets, so that gave them like more balls to rush the enemies, and then they responded like, "Oh, you're wondering whether these bullets work or not," and then they just attack them, and they clearly have not run out of bullets.
yeah. And he had like a set amount, right?
Yeah, I know
74% or something.
Scene.
What?
Didn't he have?
Yeah, because
didn't he
I was
wanna?
gonna say the initial scene where the revolution starts, Chris Evans coaxes a guard by forcing the guard's gun to his head in the belief that they had no bullets.
Yeah.
So from
Yeah.
the start, he believed that there were no bullets because he was just kind of examining their weapons from afar, and there was a clue that Mason gave that she talked about their useless guns. So
Right.
that gave him a clue that there were no bullets in there.
Right. Yeah. What were you just saying there, Sheezan? You and Dusty were kind of talking over each other a little bit.
Oh, I was talking about. Sorry, I forgot. My.
Oh, okay. But yeah, there's that. Yeah, I forgot that for in terms of the reason that Chris Evans thought that they had run out of bullets. Yeah, that's true. He was taking like an even bigger gamble than I said, really.
I think he wasn't gonna start the revolution before he tested that. He like charged a guard and like pulled the trigger on his head, right? So if he would have died, I guess the revolution wouldn't have started. But
yeah, obviously
he made sure that his theory was right, and then.
And that's interesting too, like how that one guard's one bullet, maybe it was the one in the chamber or something, like that one didn't fire, and like I wonder if that was like a 2 or 3 layer deep ruse to make them think that they had run out of bullets, to force them into a rebellion, to make make them have an easier excuse to just exterminate them or something, or if it was just coincidence. That seems more likely that it was just coincidence, but I don't know.
Oh yeah, previously what I was gonna say is
Well,
they kept
it was a
mentioning.
plan
What?
the whole time.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
part of the
it was a plan the whole time because the guns and bullets were actually hidden.
Yeah, we find that out later on, right? Yeah, that's true.
It was a plan. The rear had no bullets.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he created the conditions for the revolution to happen, but it got out of hand once they got past like the night vision gimp mask dudes.
Right. Okay. What were you just saying there, Sheezan?
Oh yeah, they wanted to exterminate they wanted to make sure only 74% survive or something like that, right?
Oh yeah. They were. Oh yeah, I totally forgot that aspect. That they were doing. They had to do like some sort of population controller, I think, right?
Oh yeah, so the Gillian guy and the Wilford guy was, I think they wanted to stage some kind of dramatic revolution, that's what the guy at the front, Wilford, was saying what happened, but we don't know if that's true.
Okay. Yeah.
He said that they were working together to make it look like that some kind of revolution was gonna happen, and his goal was to get rid of a certain amount of people, anyways. Something like that.
See, I interpreted that as they had a relationship between the back and the front. Like the back was providing the kids, which they ultimately needed to keep the train, unfortunately, going with the child labor and that kind of stuff, right? And that's what kind of kept them alive. Early on in the film, the old guy, I forget his name now, but with the glasses. But anyway, he was like, I need to talk to Wilford. So, yeah, there were signs that they were communicating back and forth, but I don't know. Yeah, I interpreted it more as a relationship, like it was a give and take. You know what I mean? Like they were obviously surviving in the back. But yeah.
Do you think in terms of that, so does that mean that you think the way you interpreted it then is that it was not part of that back and forth for them to like provoke some sort of revolution in order to have an excuse for exterminating a percentage of the population in order to do some population control? Like that was more of just like a double cross of Wilfred?
Yeah, I don't know. Then again, I'm like, why not give? They had the guys with no bullets at the very first train, pretty much that they tackled. Why not give those guys bullets and be your first line of defense? I don't know. There's maybe I'm just nitpicking up plot holes or something like that, but
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, more maybe I interpreted it wrong too. I mean, it's more. I don't know. I just when I watched it, I just saw that the whole relationship there was they were providing kids, because you saw that early on with even the woman giving up her son and the other guy that lost his arm giving up their son, right? They made that a point of like, hey, look, these kids are being brought up to the front, and then obviously we find out that they're, because there was a point where I was thinking to myself, where are these kids, right? Because you never saw them until the very end. But yeah, I thought that's what I thought that whole relationship was kind of all about, between the back and the front.
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't even realize until we started discussing it that there are so many things in there that are sort of like there are hints about what is really going on, but what is really going on is sort of up to interpretations, and you can make reasonable arguments either way, like that example.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You could also make I mean, I don't know, like, they did. Chris Evans was saying, no, that never happened between the communication between the front and the back. They could have just had a phone set up there, and they're, you know what I mean? They could have, he could have just, what's his name? the old guy at the front, Wilfred.
Wilfred? Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ed Harris. Sorry, that's what. His character. He could have just been making that all up and put a phone behind the logo in the back, just so he had a story to tell or something like that too, right? You never actually kind of find out if they were actually communicating. He just says it, right? There's no video footage of them actually communicating. You see the guy executed, but there's no actually. You don't know if they were talking back and forth. He just says that to provoke Chris Evans at the end there. So you can also interpret it that way too, or at least that's how I kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also that lady,
you think-
the skinny lady, that was giving the speeches.
Oh, with the
red-
back car?
Yeah. She when the guards wanted to, I don't know, the guards didn't have real ammos, right? But they wanted to pretend shoot the old guy, and she was like, she kind of waved them off. And then she knew the Gillian guy, the old dude that doesn't have an arm. She knew that guy, and that guy kind of tells the lady to tell Wilfred to call a meeting. And she says she kind of wanted the old guy, bring the old guy to the front for the meeting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
And,
gets canceled, or the old guy wanted him at the back or something like that.
Right, yeah. And in terms of what you were saying, Chris, too, Wilfred does make a call at one point anyway, right? So if he can make a call to one point in the train, it's entirely possible that he could to some other phone on the train too.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I think you're just kind of left, at least the way I was left thinking is that once you got to the end there and you find out that Wilfred is not this, like, yeah, he's all powerful and almighty, but he's just a regular guy pretty much, and he's just trying to survive like everybody else.
And he has to make some really
I think
fucking
we have to
bad
also-
decisions.
Yeah, I think we
Go
gotta
ahead.
assume though that John Hurt was in communication with him, because how does he have the power to tell Tilda Swinton to have Wilfred call him? Like, you wouldn't expect him to have any type of power in that situation, but he does tell her, "Hey, have him call me or contact me or whatever." So I think what he says in the end, Wilfred, is I don't think he has any reason to lie about anything.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get what type of reason he would have to lie, to deceive him, because he kind of just lays all the cards out once he gets there and what they need the kids for, that the whole thing was orchestrated, that they need to kill a certain amount of people. He's telling him all of this because he wants him to be the next conductor or whatever you want to call him. He wants him to take his place. So I think he's being brutally honest about what's going on with the process.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
I just didn't see what was in it for Gillum. That's all. Do you know what I mean? He was just living in the back, limbless. He's not like he was getting meals or anything out of it for.
Oh yeah, and the Chris Evans story was that they were like really overpopulated, and they started eating the weak. That became a custom, right? So the Gillian guy was out there in the rare, like in a cannibalistic situation.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he gave him medical attention for chopping his arms and legs off. Who knows?
Yeah.
Or maybe he saw like the leadership skills, and maybe Wilfred sought him out and just kind of proposed some type of deal.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows?
And
because they knew they're going to need somebody back there to manipulate things. It couldn't be someone from the cars up ahead. It had to be someone that lived in those rear cars.
Yeah, that's true. And that's interesting that you pointed out, Chris, that Wilfred seem like maniacal. He just seems like a regular guy. It seems like he had it seemed to me like he had like a really just cold rationalistic approach to it, which maybe you almost kind of have to have if you're in that position, unless you just like decide, fuck it, I'm going to destroy society so I don't have to make these evil decisions. But I mean, like, it's I can't imagine like making the decision to control that child slave labor and do population control and the dark shit that he does do, but it doesn't seem like he does it from a place of like maniacal enjoyment or some shit like that. Like, but it doesn't seem like he regrets it either. So that's another interesting aspect too, because I don't know. I see him as maybe a little darker than you do, but more like I don't know, like more kind of neutral. But I don't know. Maybe that's the way you were saying he is too, more kind of neutral. I don't know.
Yeah,
He's
I
like
don't
the
know.
Lord Ruler.
Yeah, Lord Ruler's more evil though, I think.
Yeah, and also there were like a bunch of carts where people were just dancing and like getting high or something like that. Right?
Yeah, that was interesting. They had some party cars.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
party cards with the chrono or whatever the drug is called. And then
Yeah.
all those chrono people were like pissed off because the Korean dude was just stealing all their chrono. And then when they got to the end of the train, all of the people who had their chrono stolen ended up coming to get their shit back.
Yeah. What the secret with the chrono was that he used it because it was super flammable. He was trying to use it to blow up the train. Is that what it was?
He was trying to blow a hole so he can escape the train.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, because he saw the
Because there
plane.
was no subtitles, I had to read the script. So whenever you heard like the Korean dude and his daughter talking, they were talking about the Legend of the Seven and that they believed that they could survive outside the train.
Oh, okay. And the Legend of the Seven is that basically we find out that it's kind of that propaganda that teacher teaches to the kid, and she shows them as they go by their dead bodies on the train about the consequences of trying to exit the train are that you die.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they were passing by the airplane every year, and for the longest time, he was only able to see like the tail or something like that, and then as time went on, he was able to see the whole plane. So they knew that the Earth was kind of getting warmer and warmer. So
Wait, what plane?
the plane, when he
Oh,
looked
the bridge.
on the bridge, right? That's how him and the daughter knew, the Asian fellow that was opening all the doors for him. That's why he wanted to open up the blast the door open and go out and take the outside route, is because he knew that the Earth was getting warmer. Every time they would pass over that bridge, he could see more and more of the plane down below. Yeah.
Yeah, it was all part of his plan. Like, and we have to remember too that he stole the rich people's fur coats exactly because he was going to go outside.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Oh, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, he like goes to the drug place. He steals all their drugs and he takes like some fur coats.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, all the drugs were for making the bomb or something. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was for getting high and making the bomb.
Yeah. Definitely. Dual purpose. Yeah.
Oh yeah, some of the passengers were in some sort of hibernation or something. They were in their drawers.
Well, I think they were keeping who they needed. Like, for example, the Asian guy and his daughter, he helped design parts of the train. So they were keeping him alive in case probably something happened, or I don't know.
I thought that was like the prison block or something. So they did.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was.
There.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
Oh, okay.
That's where they put people in jail. Apparently.
Yeah. Do they say what they were in prison for?
No.
Okay.
No, they don't.
Probably
they don't
drug related.
Yeah, probably.
He also
Yeah.
knew the one of the passengers that tried to escape. Or he knew one of them was a Inuit lady. He tells that story to his daughter.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
The
They could.
ones that were frozen.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah,
So
that's.
there might have been a previous some kind of incident that he was involved with, like those people trying to escape the train.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just gonna say something like that. I was wondering if maybe he had something to do with some sort of like attempted but
Seven.
failed rebellion or something like that.
Maybe he helped the Seven previously. I don't know.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they leave a lot of vagaries in this. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
they
But I
don't
think
spell
that's
everything out exactly.
Yeah, I
I think
like that.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's what makes the movie good is you're kind of left like this is a perfect movie to discuss because we can interpret different kind of areas of the movie differently and stuff. Like for example, the end. Like, what did you guys think about the end with the polar bear there?
I like
I see I
Yeah.
see that, and I'm like, how the hell is she and this young kid gonna like? What does that mean? They're not gonna fight the polar bear and eat the meat off of him. Like
I
that's
No,
wondered if
no
that
ways.
was I wondered if that was supposed to be some sort of metaphor of some ultimate goal of the rebellion being that they can go back to nature. I wondered if it had something to do with that.
well, I think it's showing that life is again able to be on the planet. Like the Earth has gotten to a certain temperature now that if polar bears can survive, then the Inuit can survive, for example, right? Whereas early on in the film, they were talking it was so cold that you stepped outside for 2 seconds and you'd freeze to death, right? So
Right. Right. Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, like, because I forgot about that stuff about there being the plane, and them being more more prepared for an escape than I even realized. I like how the the ending is a little kind of ambiguous, like you were kind of just saying how that's
oh,
one of the
there's so many questions with the ending. I mean, they're the only two left standing. Was there anybody else that survived?
yeah
There were so many
yeah.
Kurt's there. Where's
They don't show you whether Chris Evans survived the explosion or not,
okay,
or who else
or who
survived
else survived? Yeah.
who else survived other than the druggies. So
And
we
a
don't know
little boy.
whether what's that, Dusty?
I guess just her and the little boy. That's the only thing we see, but there are a bunch
Yeah.
of cars that were part of this train, so
Yeah.
who knows
The
what
druggies
happened.
were at the cart where the door exploded, right? Where the
Right.
Yeah,
bomb
they were.
exploded. So a lot of
Right.
them probably got hit.
Okay. So yeah, I guess it's possible that there could have been a lot of survivors, and if they could, like, especially since it's if that guy who escaped, who was one of the druggies, like, was an engineer or something, or at least he helped design some of the train, maybe he could get the plane working again if it didn't work. But then we also don't know whether anyone is a pilot or something, or how far they could go even with those fur coats, if they can't get the plane working. So yeah, like that's an interesting stuff where it brings up a lot of questions and you can really speculate about a lot of it.
There might be a
Chris
lot of
Evans got
bunkers
his
as
arm
well.
chopped off.
What about that guy?
Chris Evans, he got his arm chopped off.
Yeah.
There might be other people in bunkers outside as well. That are
Yeah, that's
alive.
possible.
It shouldn't just be I don't know. It's kind of unrealistic that the train is the only humans that are alive.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
we're
Yeah.
never told
Yeah,
how
they're-
cold it is outside, or
Yeah, that's true.
or anything like that.
I mean,
Is
other
this-
people who had like some sort of permanent shelter, they could have survived too. I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, there had to be other survivors, or else. Okay, think about this. You have the two people that are left at the end of the film are two people that were born on the train and have never experienced actual Earth survival instincts, hunting, starting a fire, all that kind of stuff, right? So if those are the only two people left on the planet, well, then human race is over, and then that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
You got to put
Yeah.
some hope in that somebody else has survived, and they know how to maybe what life was like before they were stuck on a train, and how to start a fire, or how to hunt, or how to create a shelter, or do all these kind of things that you need to recirculate life again, right? So
Right.
Yeah, and we also don't know who the polar bear was looking at. It might have been looking at the two kids at the end.
yeah, I might be looking at them for meat,
Yeah.
So are they saying that they are to repopulate the earth so everyone's going to be, black
Yeah.
or Asian or
Yeah.
something like that?
Yeah, did you say that there? I didn't remember that was his daughter. That would be like an incestuous way of repopulating civilization, if that's the case.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, he said it was his daughter through the translator device.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it sucks that they ditched the device. Like, we still kind of need to know what they're saying.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And apparently Chris Evans could understand him without it, which doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
Oh yeah, sometimes he totally understands the guy without a translator somehow.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that was weird too.
And then the daughter is psychic or something, apparently.
Yeah, that's interesting. That seemed it seemed like that was sort of a thing that was understood as just like a thing that happens now.
But faded as they got to the last couple, trains. Like, she started off and had these good visions and let them know that there was evil men with axes behind the one. But as I got to like the last couple trains, she can envision. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'm nitpicking again, but
okay.
It
No, I
seems like
missed that. I missed that too.
It seems like her visions wore off more near the end of the film.
Maybe it's because she was loaded up with Chrono. If she was
I was just thinking that maybe it's like Chrono superpowers.
Yeah, maybe she just high as fuck.
I don't think she had. I think maybe the effects of Chrono kind of impeded the actual cognitive ability, the precognitive ability. But
also, I think her range is like one cart ahead or something like that. Because when that fat guy shoots from the other side of the train, when the train is going in a semicircle, and the guy like snipes from a cart.
Yeah.
The girl.
Yeah, that was like the most unreasonable thing I saw was what Chris Evans scored like a headshot with a non-rifle gun, like a
long distance, and they both shot holes through the train without breaking the windows either.
Yeah, and a moving train.
They're spinning. They're in a moving train. They're spinning around. We've got to assume there's heavy winds outside. Yeah, that's ridiculous. I was like, these are impossible shots right here.
Yeah.
And then they basically just wasted a bunch of bullets. Like, that's all they did.
Basically.
And
they've got
died.
precious few of those too, as far as they know.
And cigarettes, limited supply.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. That's kind of cool that they have the last cigarettes on the world and in the world, and then Chris Evans smokes the world's last cigarette, as far as they know.
Oh yeah.
Well,
that's an interesting. That's an interesting thing that they have in some post-apocalyptic movies and books. Like, remember that was a thing in The Stand, Dusty, about how there were a few different characters who were like getting closer and closer to the world's last cigarettes.
Yeah, cigarettes tend to be those things in post-apocalyptic movies that are worth a lot.
Yeah, that's an easy way to quit smoking if you're smoking. Create an apocalypse, and then they'll eventually run out.
Yeah, you could do that, or you could just chew nicotine gum.
Yeah, that seems like a way easier solution.
or vape instead.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember it was a pretty. I guess I remember that one aquarium scene. So there are like these cars on the train that were super extravagant and almost pointless. Like you had that car, you had a car dedicated to serving sushi one time a
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. And like
you
that
got,
rave car wasn't really necessary either.
well, you got to keep rich people entertained.
Yeah.
There was a cart with a pool, right? With jacuzzi or something. The
Oh
jacuzzi.
yeah. Yeah.
There's a part where I guess there was a bunch of plants, and then you had a meat cart. So I don't know where the hell they're getting their meat from. Like I didn't see
Yeah.
any live animals on this train.
Yeah, that's a good point. I wonder if
Yeah.
they've developed the technology to grow meat at that point.
I would assume not, because I just don't. I don't know. I just don't
I
think
mean,
that
they're
they.
feeding the rare people the protein bars, so the
Yeah.
meat must be somewhat expensive.
Yeah, where are they getting the bugs from? Like,
Yeah.
'cause there is a shitload of bugs in that machine.
Like I don't know, like you could find stray bugs crawling around the train maybe, but it doesn't seem like there would be enough to actually feed people. Yeah, that's a good
Aren't
point.
they like collecting water at the front, like going through ice, and they like collect water by
Yeah.
breaking the ice? So maybe something like, I don't know.
I don't think bugs could survive in that climate, though. You don't have
It's
bugs
kind of
flying
bug
around
unfriendly.
in the winter.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no idea how they, because we get to know that in the very beginning they didn't feed the back, so the back were eating themselves, and they devised these protein bars. But how'd they get that many bugs? It just seemed like there were so many goddamn bugs in that vat. I'm guessing there's probably more than just bugs in there. There's probably all like the crap that nobody wants from like the other meat products, like I guess organs and offal and things like that.
I don't know like how fast bugs breed. I mean, if you don't control the bug population or something, or maybe they had some sort of like bug breeding program or something. I wonder. Probably not, but I don't know.
Yeah, no clue. And we don't really know how many train cars there are, right? They don't really give us an exact amount.
Right.
No. But they kind of hint at like an ecosystem. You see, like, there's a cart just full of chickens or meats they have. There's a cart full of just plants that they have for food.
Well, they
right?
must have some live animals, because we do see that they ate some hard-boiled eggs, right?
Yeah, that's right.
They have
So we
their
gotta
own
have some egg-laying
ecosystem
hens
for
on there
fish.
somewhere.
What was that, Sheezan?
They have their own ecosystem for fish, right? That they
for the
they can-
sushi.
Yeah.
For certain times in the year, they can only have them. I wonder if that's how they eat the meat as well, because they've been on that train for 18 years, so they still have some meat there.
Yeah.
Maybe they have some kind of farm, so like breeding system going on.
Yeah,
Randomly.
they could have something like that. Like with all of the things that you were just mentioning, like the different types of food and whatnot, it seems like maybe they have some sort of way of creating food, like some sort of ecosystem, like you mentioned, that could lead to some small enough production for all of them. I don't know.
They've got gardens, right? They got the garden carts.
Yeah, that's true. Well, a garden is easier to maintain than maintaining animals for meat and like chickens for eggs, although chickens would be easier to maintain indoors, and like, but then I don't know, like maybe like when they first started the train off, they had some of these things that, like chickens and cows or something, but then why
They had to have. It sounds like they had to have some of those things already.
Yeah, it sounds like they put like together like a Noah's Ark or something like that before they left.
Is this
Yeah.
supposed to be like a self-sustaining, like I guess a cruise ship type of deal where they didn't have to stop and get more supplies? It was supposed to be like a leisure, the leisure vehicle where people
Yeah.
would just hop on and have like a vacation. I still don't get how it would take this train a year to complete its route. That seems pretty slow to me.
How long do you think it would take for it to go like all the way around the world, basically, is the route that the way it was described?
Not a year. If this is going, what we got? The
Can't
train
ship
looks like it was pretty going
Fast.
pretty fast, right?
It feels like it'd go around the world in like a couple of months. I feel
Yeah,
not a
don't
year.
like
Yeah.
sailboats cross the ocean, circle the world in less than a year.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
that
it
thing
said
is
that
like
it's each revolution was a year, which it didn't really make sense to me. It's
Yeah.
like,
we never see it stop either. It just keeps going and going.
yeah, it
Mhm.
never stops, and supposedly the route takes a year. I just think that wasn't like well thought out. They just put an arbitrary number there. But
Yeah, I guess.
if it took a year, then it had to take some really circuitous routes around things. But it didn't really look like that train was doing too many twists and turns.
Yeah,
Hmm.
true.
I think it was mostly straight and level.
Oh yeah,
It's going over-
in the school program where they were indoctrinating the kids, they had a video where they show that his train goes all over the world. It has like rails all over the world.
Hmm.
Travel the entire globe.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't even realize that. I guess because I have a bad sense of geography and a bad sense of judging distance and how long it would take to travel distances.
Well,
But
here's a calculation. If we can say that the train is probably going faster than 60 miles an hour, but if the average speed is 60 miles an hour, then in a year it would cover 500,000 miles.
oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was going way faster than that. It was breaking through ice barriers on the hill and shit. So it was flying.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Well,
Yeah, that
how many miles are? I'm gonna ask Google this. How many? The circumference of the
it's like
Earth is how many miles?
26,000.
It's like 25. Well, what it's telling me. I don't know.
Yes, like 26,000 miles or something like that.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that should easily be able to be traveled in a year then.
Well, if you're going like completely straight, yes. So, if they were going 60 miles an hour, like 24 hours a day, though, they can make that trip. What is it? 4, 8, 6. They can make that trip like 25 times almost.
Oh, okay.
It's like ridiculous. That's why I said it didn't make sense to me that it took them all
Oh,
year.
yeah. So I guess even if they take really, really, really circuitous routes.
No, they actually, yeah, they would be able to do that trip 50 times actually.
Okay. And that's if they
Yeah.
were going straight?
If they're just going straight. Yeah.
Okay. So then, yeah, it sounds like even if they were going through really circuitous routes, that it would take way less than a year, probably. Yeah.
They would have to travel like 2,100 miles a month if they were traveling straight. That train is moving real fast.
Okay.
Yeah, in a month it would go way over 2,100 miles.
Oh, yeah, the circumference of the Earth is 24,901 miles. So, yeah, that would be easy. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know, I drove like 3,000 miles. It took me 3 days in the car.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Where did you drive from?
Slow.
Where'd you go?
From San Diego to Washington, D.C.
Wow.
Yeah, it's about 1,000 miles a day. in the car.
Okay. Like, how many hours a day did you drive?
Like 20.
Okay.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a
well,
That's a lot. Wow.
well, the first leg of the trip I drove 20 hours, and the last two legs I drove like 18 hours.
Wow.
In 3 days, 4 days.
Yeah, 3 days. I just wanted to, as I was just trying to get to DC, and I didn't want to spend too much money on like hotels.
Right.
I only
Okay.
had to stay in one hotel. The first leg I stayed at my sister who lives in Denver, and from Denver I traveled to St. Louis, stayed in a hotel there, and from St. Louis I got to DC.
Okay.
Nice. I once did Toronto to LA in my early 20s. I slept in my car the whole way. It took me
Oh,
4 days
yeah.
though. But yeah, but this is like before September 11th, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have slept in my car, but I had a cat with me, so I don't think that would have worked out well. And my car was just stuffed full of stuff
I
because I
just
was
did,
moving.
I just
Oh,
stayed at
okay.
Flying J's, which was perfect. If when you stay at Flying J, they have showers there, and you just wake up and shower, and then there you go.
What's
What's a
that?
Flying J?
Oh, they're truck
Oh,
stops.
oh, a truck stop.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Okay.
Sweet.
Well, I needed the hotel room so that my cat could take a shit.
The
So
litter box,
I
eh?
well, I didn't have a litter box in the car. My cat just had to hold it.
So where did your cat take a shit in a hotel?
I had a disposable litter box that I just set
Oh,
up in the
okay.
hotel room.
Okay.
Yeah. So the cat could take a shit and piss and whatever.
Okay.
Because the cat held its fluids until it got out.
That's another good question about the train. What did they do with their shit and piss? Did they just like shit into like holes that dump onto the train tracks or something?
Well,
I
how
wonder
does a
about,
train normally discard its feces and waste? I don't know.
I don't know.
Shoots like turds out the side. I have no idea.
No, it's like an
Maybe
RV system, I'm
fertilizer.
sure.
Maybe they needed it for fertilizer. Maybe they needed
Yeah,
that shit.
Yeah, maybe.
It's like a
They were recycling some of the water, I think.
Yeah, they
Okay.
wouldn't really need the water, but I think they'd need the shit.
For fertilizer.
Well, actually, you know what? I think they would need the piss too, because piss has phosphorus in it, and you actually need phosphorus for growing things. If
Okay.
they're not able to get it any other way, they're going to need to save the piss as well. So they probably use both the piss and shit for agricultural purposes.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. What were you just saying there? Oh wait. I'll wait to ask you your question until you're done your hit there, Chris. What were you just saying there?
what was it saying?
You were saying something about what we were talking about for in terms of using piss and shit for agricultural purposes, or in terms of how the train gets rid of their waste.
Oh yeah, no, that makes sense. But like, I was just gonna say, like, I think like via rail or whatever, they use the similar systems like RVs where they have like a huge container that they dispose of at every
Okay.
train stop.
Oh, okay. So how would they do it if they're not stopping then?
Yeah, I don't know. But like Dusty said, they're probably recycling it again.
Yeah, I guess that would make sense.
Well, what type of labor did the people in the back cart do? I don't think they were just hanging out all day. Weren't they?
Yeah,
Weren't they
yeah,
tasked with something?
that's a good question. Yeah,
Maybe they had to process the piss and shit. Who knows, man?
Yeah, maybe.
they probably were doing something. It's I mean, especially since the whole narrative is about class struggle, right? So
Yeah, they
they're
had
the
access to
workers.
a lot of. They made all the fire and they prepared some barrels and stuff. So they were doing some kind of labor, probably.
Okay.
processing
as well as
shit
providing
barrels.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
and providing kids or whatever.
and providing kids. Yeah, I was just
Yeah,
gonna say.
Breed, bitch.
And then Ed Harris does like his little like kata, which consists of these motions that the kids were doing.
What was that? Oh, was that like some what was that?
It looked like, okay, you saw that Ed Harris was performing a kata, right? Like he was doing like what appeared to be martial arts moves, but they weren't. They were just like the repetitive actions that the kids had to do in order to make the train go.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, won't they do like some kind of what is that called? Some kind of fist thing, Johnny Bravo fist thing in this school.
Fist thing?
What is it called? I forgot what the motion is called. Where they pump the hand.
Fist pump.
Dab, right?
Piston.
Dab.
Oh, okay.
So the children were doing some kind of dab, right? And
Yeah.
when they would sing that train song, the engine goes rumble, rumble, rumble. And they
Oh, okay. Yeah.
they would sing about Wilford and like dab and stuff. Was that what you were talking about, Dusty?
Yeah, it was just Ed Harris was making some movements with his hand, like he was doing kung fu or something. But he was
Okay.
just demonstrating what the kids had to do under the floorboards. And I also don't get why, like, the front of the train opened up and some kid walked in there. Like, we have no clue why
Oh
he was
yeah.
going up there.
Yeah, the engine they
At
make
all.
the engine look like really high tech or so like magic or some shit or something weird like that.
Yeah, because the nose opens up and like a kid crawls out from a cubby, ignoring everybody, and just kind of sits down and goes back into the machine, and it swallows him up. I have no idea what he was doing.
Oh yeah, some of the
But-
kids were some brainwashed or something because they weren't listening to. It seems like they were numb to outside noises or voices. They were like stuck in like emotion, doing something.
Same with the guy that played the violin. Remember the husband and wife? They recruited him, and then he comes in, and yeah, even that scientist guy that they recognized earlier that was making that was shit bars or whatever. They're
Yeah.
kind of under some kind of hypnosis or
They go
Yeah, it
undergo
does seem
some-
like that. Yeah.
they undergo some type of re-education program.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and the people in the front, they also seem like they're hazed or they're like totally zoned into. Because there's like a total civil war going on. Then they kind of vaguely care. They kind of see it on the side, sitting there.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, good point.
anybody else notice that one old lady, I forget her name, but the one they take hostage, with the horrible teeth.
Yeah, Tilda Swinton.
Oh, yeah. What about her?
Yeah, so she has horrible teeth, but yet they run by a dentist in like one of the carts. You would think that she would had access to this dentist.
That's a good point.
I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't think
Well,
of
maybe
that.
she had lost her teeth years before or something. Who knows?
But well, I think she does take out those whatever they are dentures.
Oh,
but
yeah,
even
yeah. She has that
her dentures are
dentures.
horrible.
Her dentures are crooked too. I noticed
Yeah,
that.
like
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought that
And
was
she has
weird.
a big gap in her teeth, and her teeth are like pointed outward.
Yeah,
Like she
Yeah.
has a super overbite looking thing.
yeah.
And you have a fucking dentist on board. Come on.
Maybe it's like super communist, so they get like allotted time with the dentist. Like maybe it's something like that.
Maybe.
Yeah, true.
Because they're all rationing everything. Maybe they don't have only so many like fillings or denture
She
molds.
was one of the higher ups though, so she would definitely qualify for somebody that.
I was looking it up, like I was reading into the movie, and supposedly she's actually second in command.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Supposedly, I don't know. Maybe she didn't care that much about
Yeah,
her
maybe.
teeth. I don't know. Because she was British, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, true.
I was gonna say she has like the epitome of the stereotype of British teeth.
I thought that it was the blonde girl, the fat blonde girl that was guarding Wilfred. That was the second in command.
No, she was just a secretary, I guess.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
And that girl got like thrown something at her face, and she was bleeding at the start of the movie, and she looked like she liked it, and she kind of licked the blood off her
Oh yeah, that was
forehead.
fucked up.
Yeah, that girl's like some kind of crazy, or she's brainwashed too or something, because she seemed to like the violence, or she's like unfazed by violence, and
Yeah,
so
I
is
wonder,
guarding
like,
Wilfred.
I wonder if some of that, and if it is this, like, how much of it is like similar to a possibility of how Wilfred is like in that maybe some of it is just like being emotionally dead, so you'll like to deal with all the dark shit that you have to deal with, or maybe you're just like become a fucking sociopath of some kind to be able to have to make those dark decisions, like, hey, go to the back to get these children for child slave labor without being broken by it every time.
Yeah. They have some kind of story, like the other lady, the guy you were saying is the second in command. She had like a story, because that everyone would have frozen if they weren't on Wilfred's train. So they all have to be grateful and deal with everyone has to just play their role, and so that's their like mantra or something.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
surprised that this damn thing has been continuously running for over 15 years. Like, what the hell are the wheels made out of on this thing?
That's a good
Jesus.
fucking point. Like,
yeah.
if you can replace the internal parts with children, you can't exactly do that with the wheels. Like, how are you going to keep those running for so long continuously?
Yeah, or just an engine in general. Like, I don't know. Like, how are you going to get new oil? How are you going to do oil change? Like, what are you going to do with all those moving parts? That's just crazy. Well, it's, of course, you know, there has to be a suspension of belief here, but
Mhm.
Yeah, and the engine doesn't even it doesn't look like it's steam, or it's some kind of hydraulic or anything. It almost looks electronic, right? The
well, we
engine.
saw that there's moving parts because when they lifted
Oh
the
yeah, there's some gears
floorboards,
underneath.
there
Yeah.
were like gears and shit moving around. So
Yeah,
there has
it
to
looks
be
like a
some type of
watch.
yeah, there has to be
Yeah.
some type of internals. So the internals have to wear out. And he said some of the parts broke down, and they replaced them with kids.
And it's also like metal wheels rubbing against rails, right? It's losing
So
some
it's
of
just like you
the.
got these small little wheels that are just constantly in motion. You know, they got to wear out sometime. Unless they're, I don't know what the hell they would be made out of not to wear out.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting too, because I don't know, the only, maybe one of the only ways that they could account for that. I mean, it's probably more likely to just be something that's supposed to be suspension of disbelief, like
Oh, I know what
like
they're made out of. I know
what?
what they're made out of. They're made out of Reardon steel.
Oh yeah, Reardon steel.
Yeah,
What
Stephen
year is
Atlas
this?
shrugs.
What year was?
Wait, that's the guy from Atlas Shrugged, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's the
Reardon
super
steel.
libertarian utopia train wheels.
Yeah, the tracks are Reardon steel too.
Yeah. That's why the tracks never have to be repaired.
I wonder if the
I still have to
person
read that
who
one.
made the movie, or even had read Atlas Shrugged.
Yeah, I wonder.
Because Atlas
mean,
Shrugged is all about trains.
I mean, the whole, like, the main message of the movie, like, obviously seems more like really about class struggle, and like more like the opposite of libertarianism in a way, like almost communism or something, or at least
I think
that.
it's a communism because I feel that the moral of the story is that everybody's job is important, but some people's jobs are way shittier than other people's jobs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like,
Yeah.
that's almost one of the ways in which it's kind of critiquing communism and that sort of thing in a way too, like how a communist society always inevitably leads to a hierarchy anyway, even though people are supposed to be equal.
Hmm. Yeah, they're definitely not equal on this train.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this train, I don't know, this train didn't even look like it was like there's some kind of central planning and everyone was in on it, or it looked like the people in the rear didn't know what they signed up for. They just kind of got on that plane, the train to survive, and yeah, and I don't think they knew they signed up for it. But some of the other cards, they might be on a plan. They might have known. I don't know what kind of system it would be. It's definitely really authoritarian.
Yeah, like well, like I was mentioning before, like the way that the train is run is more like a theocratic dictatorship, really. Like they literally like sell Wilfred as this like godlike
Oh yeah,
figure in a way. And it's really a strict hierarchy in that, with all the people in the back doing all the work and like all the rich people living this life of luxury, right?
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. I think as you get closer to the front, that's where you see people just wilding out because the drug addicts are like way near the front, and as you get closer to the front, it's just people become more free willing and lecherous and
They're in
libertine, I
cosplay
guess.
for some reason.
Yeah, all the people, it's like all the nobles are all up front and they're just getting high and partying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And like
I thought of.
oh god.
What
I
were
was just gonna
the
say,
games doing? They were like just dressed up on one cart and they were waiting for the new year. And yeah, it looked like the games were brainwashed too. They were acting like animals. I'm not sure if they had like normal lives or that's what they do in that cart.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they just watch
I don't
over the
know.
water and then also train to fuck people up with axes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they knew like it was all planned that the revolution was going to end in that cart. So they made sure to train all the water workers up so that they could use axes and shit, and
Mhm.
you know, to smear their axes in fish blood and whatnot.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, they have that fish blood ritual too.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. What were you just trying to say there, Chris?
I was gonna say, what was I gonna say? Oh, I was gonna say when you were talking about dictatorships and authoritarianism. I was thinking when I was watching this, it's very similar to kind of like the North Korean government setup, where you have Ed Harris is kind of like the Kim Jong Un. You have different class struggles. There's the people at the closer to the front of the train that are rich, which North Koreans, they do have like an upper class people, and then a majority of the people are obviously lower class and starving themselves and living off cockroaches. So, And I think the director is from South Korea, so it's I don't know if that was done on purpose, having that so close to home, but maybe, who knows? But I definitely reminded me of the setup of a North Korean kind of government. The train was.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me if that at least maybe had some influence, even if it wasn't meant to be a direct.
Meant to be,
yeah.
Yeah, true. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely some kind of theocracy where
Yeah.
they believe the engine is some special divine thing as well, I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's an interesting aspect too.
And at the end of the movie, they destroy the train, which is their whole
home.
That's what they worship, their whole existence.
Yeah, that's true. That gives it like more layers of meaning to them destroying the train. It's like they destroyed their deity in a way too, because it was basically authoritarian, ruling over them in an authoritarian way.
But why would Ed Harris say nice upon the destruction of the train?
I don't know. Maybe like, I guess like my guess would be that he's just tired of the burden of leadership, and
they said they were bored. Like the people in the front, isn't that at one point they said the people in the board or people in the front are bored and the people in the back are starving or something like that. Like they've been doing this for 18 years on the train. He's probably just like, fuck yeah, action. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that could be the case.
Fuck yeah, action. That's why he's like nice, even though he's about to get blown up.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah, in his whole speech to Chris Evans, he kept hinting at like easy life it gets too boring and people start adding like fake drama to it. So
yeah, but Ed Harris gets punched in the face.
That's true.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Captain America just socks him in the face.
Yeah.
When he finds out about the kid.
Yeah.
Also, the leader guy was also in on the whole everything, the propaganda that he was selling, because once he reached the front, he was like, oh yeah, that's how nature is supposed to be, and he kind of, it's like his time to take over, sort of. He doesn't seem too bothered about it. That's like how he views the world.
Well, yeah, he kind of tapped into like human nature. He knew that the way that he could influence these people, because all those people on the train are all doing they're doing something to make that train keep going, right? Whether it's like the guy selling or dishing out sushi in the one cart, or the other guy doing security or whatever, right? So he needs all these people to believe in some kind of religious underpinning that's like, this train is for the better good, and this guy is a savior, and he's saving humanity. We're the only human beings left. So if you're not in line or whatever like that, you're gonna die. You'll be killed.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Like some a theocratic natural order.
Yeah. The propaganda makes sense.
Took a look. I took a look at that nice scene again. And the weird thing about that scene is that this is right before the engine explodes. What happened is, I don't know, it could be nice that the Korean man is saving his daughter, and so is Chris Evans.
Yeah,
that
that's
might
true.
be it, because he says that right after that. The other thing that's strange too is he had been punched and knocked down on the floor. When Ed Harris is nice, he's back in his seat enjoying his steak again.
Oh yeah, that could be it. Yeah.
So I don't know if he's talking about his steak or if he's talking about the train about to get blown up, or them doing that group hug to try to save the girl and the boy.
Yeah. That's a good point. It could be any of those things. Yeah.
Maybe Ed Harris thought that his day was done anyway. I mean, he did mention that, Chris Evans was the first to get from the back of the train to the front of the train. So he knew maybe as soon as somebody got to this point, because who was security at that point? Just that blonde head girl sitting in the chair.
Well, and
right?
even tells
and he
him
told her
that,
not to shoot at anybody either.
Yeah.
So
and he even tells Chris Evans too that like now that you've gotten here, it's you're taking the place of leader.
Yeah, that's right. And that's pushed throughout the whole movie.
Or maybe he's saying nice. Maybe he's saying nice because his decision. Well, maybe it could be that, okay, so he's not going to be the leader and he resisted everything. So his solution is to blow up the train. And maybe that's something that Ed Harris had never thought of, and he's impressed about that decision.
Yeah, that's true.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about the outcome of the movie. I don't know if a better ending would have been if Chris Evans and his crew took control of the train, or that was the best outcome where they just blew up the train and now everyone has to survive without the train.
Yeah, who knows?
Is it like a parallel to a civilization, like the way we do things right now? Is that what he wanted to hint at? Or I felt like that's what he wanted to hint at.
Well,
Yeah.
I think at the end, like even if the train wasn't going to get blown up or whatever, he took the kid out, so that would have ruined everything also. So either way, I think the train was going to stop functioning.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he wanted to, like Chris Evans wanted to destroy the train anyway, just as much as that guy and his daughter who were chrono addicts and had something to do with building the train.
Yeah.
Was there a revolution? Were they planning to destroy the train?
No, I don't know. I think the only thing we know about the revolution is that they wanted to take down Wilford.
Yeah.
I don't know if they wanted to actually destroy the train. I just know that they wanted to do a revolution by toppling the social order.
Yeah, no, Chris Evans didn't want to destroy the train at all because he was even against the Asian guy blowing up the door, right? So he was like, "Are you crazy? If you're gonna freeze to death out there." So I think they ran into a situation that they found out that the kids were holding the train together, and that the moral choice was that obviously Chris Evans didn't want that.
Yeah.
Right. The engine stops and.
It's like the trolley problem, survive, but you got to kill a bunch of kids or just end it all now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he's like, nope, we're not sacrificing these kids. And I think you're right. It seems
everybody.
we're going to sacrifice everyone instead. And I think you were right. It seemed like Chris Evans was not trying to, like, he didn't have the plan of destroying the train at all until he found out what was truly happening with the child slave labor and the Asian guy and his daughter. It seemed like they did have the plan, and that's one of the two reasons, like you said, like that they were collecting all the chrono to use it, but also to use it as an explosive to blow up the train.
Also, before Chris Evans enters the Wilfred's room, he kind of goes crazy, right? He tells the Asian guy to open the door, and before that guy can respond, he just keeps kicking the door, and he just goes nuts and starts fighting, right? He was pretty out of it. He was hell-bent on getting Wilfred at that point.
Yeah, definitely.
And also the other, the older...
Well, I know that Chris Evans' mind...
What was that, Dusty?
Oh, no, I was going to say that Chris Evans' mind changed as soon as he punched Ed Harris in the face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Is he changed his decision for sure.
Hmm.
And
That's an
also,
interesting question. Like, what do you guys like? What would you guys say to this question? Like, what decision would you make? Would you destroy the whole train, or would you continue doing the child slave labor thing, or are there other options? Like, I really don't know what I would do in that situation. I mean, I guess I would not want to destroy the train. I want to try to keep it working, but I would try to, I don't know, try to restructure it somehow, maybe to try to get that guy to replace the replace the parts or make new parts or something. But that's why, like, it's like the trolley problem, a really difficult philosophical decision to make, like you said, Dusty.
also we don't know if it's like a engineering
Yeah, I'd
blockade
say
where they can't fix it, or is it like that guy doesn't care anymore that there's
Yeah,
child labor issues and
like, is it even possible for him to fix it too?
yeah. Maybe he's callous. Who
yeah, we don't
knows?
know what the parts are made of or what resources they need.
Yeah. What do you think you guys would do?
Oh,
Democratic
I think I
vote.
would have tried
Let
to
everybody
fix
know what the
train.
situation was on the train.
I think most people would try to fix the train, but yeah, fixing the train might be really messed up.
Yeah, I think you use the train as kind of like a housing and try to get as much out of it as possible. Obviously, there's going to be some food left over, and then obviously, yeah, move on, create a village. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess like is it really necessary to keep the train running around the tracks all the time? Maybe it does make more sense to just stop it, and you don't need to keep it running, like you said, and
Also,
make
it goes through like huge metropolises as well, right? We see in parts of the movie it's going through cities, like big cities. So they could have also stopped the train at somewhere where there weren't as many polar bears. They would, right, they're stuck in the mountains. It seemed like at the end they were somewhere up in the mountains and like really far from civilization.
yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but the cosplay people and the druggies were staging a revolt, and they would have gotten, if they didn't take any action right then, they would have gotten taken over by those people again.
Yeah. So, okay. So you would like let everyone know what's going on the train, and let everyone decide together what to do, Dusty, and then Chris, you would like stop the train and make it into some sort of village, and then what would you do, Sheezan?
Oh, I would try to, like, if we were trying to stop the train, then I would try to stop it when they were near civilization. They were near like a city, they were near some kind of shelter, and not totally in the wilderness. Because where, yeah, but he didn't have much of a choice. But where they ended up stopping the train, I don't know how many people would survive, and it's gonna be pretty hard. Also, there's like bears out there, polar bears.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. I mean, it is debatable whether it would be more challenging to keep it running or to stop it. I mean, maybe one advantage to stopping it would be that it would be easier to maintain less systems. Like if you don't have to keep the train running, it would be easier to maintain like keeping it warm and providing food or something. But then again, maybe you'd have predators trying to raid the food supply or something too if you stopped it. I don't know. It could. There are pros and cons to each, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna suck for the people that were partying.
Yeah.
The front couple
Yeah.
rows. But for the back of the row people, they could have enjoyed life a bit more, but now everyone's gonna have to survive the wilderness without the train.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, did you guys have anything else major that you noticed about the movie, or some of your favorite parts, or some of the most fucked up parts, or any more like plot holes that you noticed?
No. I really like the indoctrination of the children.
Yeah,
and
that
the
was
Gimp
interesting.
War. Those were my favorite scenes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
one of the girls in the school was pretty annoying. It was pretty
Yeah,
funny.
that
Some of her
was
dialogues were.
yeah, that was interesting. That was so fucking creepy. That was one of my favorite parts too, because it was so fucking creepy.
Yeah, and the teacher like doing her like whole kids routine, and at the end of the routine, just putting up a submachine gun out of somewhere. That was pretty.
Yeah, that was pretty fucked up. Yeah.
That's pretty nuts.
We also saw that the indoctrination ran deep because the second in command knew all of that stuff by heart when they were doing like they're reciting the stuff about Willard and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And I liked, obviously, I liked all of the awesome battles too. Like all the battles on the train cars.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the battles were pretty good.
And some
Yeah.
just awful situations like fighting in the dark
Yeah.
with just axes only. Like that's
Fighting in the dark with axes versus guns.
yeah.
Fuck, man.
Can you imagine
I
that?
think they had one side had clubs and the other side had axes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Still,
Yeah,
though, like you're fighting in the fucking dark with these in close quarters combat, right?
Just swinging away at anything.
Yeah.
that's pretty nuts.
Yeah, that'd freak me out.
Yeah, man. I sure wouldn't want to fucking do that.
Yeah.
All right. So, what would you guys give this as a rating? Like out of 5 stars? I think I would probably give it 4 stars. I would say I thought it was really good, but not like excellent. But yeah, I would probably give it 4 stars.
Yeah, I would give it 4 stars as well. It's not absolutely legendary like some movies that would get 5 stars. I'm thinking of Lord of the Rings at the moment, and first Matrix movie. I don't think it's like that, but it's like it's pretty good. It's up there. It's 4 stars. It's a quality movie. It's got a lot of things to think about and great action as well.
For sure. Great philosophical topics, great action, and all sorts of like fascinating science fiction, post-apocalyptic concepts. Yeah, agree with everything you said there.
Yeah, I'm on board with you guys. 4 stars. I enjoyed it, like I said. It was a movie that kept me interested and, kind of wondering what the next cart was they were going to find. There was, yeah. I didn't think it was going to be like that at all. I don't know. I'm kind of glad I went into this film knowing absolutely nothing about it. A Snowpiercer. I thought it was just about this guy that was like a hunter in the snow. I don't know. And then all of a sudden it ends up being about like trains and shit. I was like, whoa. This is crazy. And then it goes from cart to cart to cart, and I was just like, oh, what's gonna happen next? Right? So yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed the film. I still think that I enjoyed Parasite a tiny bit more, and the only reason I liked Parasite a little bit more is just it was an easier watch. Like there's nothing wrong with Snowpiercer, but there was some not cringe moments, but like some tough. It was more darker moment.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely some dark and fucked up and disturbing shit.
Yeah, which is fine. It's just like, I just Yeah, they're both fairly good movies. And like I said earlier, I'm interested to go through his catalog and watch some of his other films. So
Yeah.
I liked his. Yeah, now that I think about it, I liked a lot both of his other movies, and I'll definitely check out more of his movies. He seems like a good director.
Yeah. I want to watch his other movies too. I guess I like this one. I guess part of the reason I like this one a little bit more than Parasite is I'm twisted, so I like that darker shit, and also I like that there's like that there are more action scenes and battles and stuff like that in this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll give it 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed what he did with the limited setting. So the entire movie takes place on a train throughout the whole movie,
true.
except when they step out for a few minutes.
Yeah.
I thought the whole concept was interesting. This, never-ending train ride. It's a post-apocalyptic environment, but they're all stuck on a technologically advanced train. So that's definitely, they took it to some interesting places. I thought the acting was pretty good. And I would say that if I were to choose Parasite or this to watch again, I think I'd be able to get through Snowpiercer easier. I think it's shorter, if I'm not mistaken. And it's not a dialogue-heavy movie, so there's not a whole lot of dialogue, and there's a lot of action, and of course, the dark, twisted shit as well. So,
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I guess we've talked about this movie a fair bit. So for the next movie I wanted to talk about, I was thinking about talking about Apocalypse Now, if that's okay with you guys. I know I had mentioned it before. Does that sound good for the next movie chat?
Sure. And then Grandma's Boy after that one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Cool.
Sure.
All
Mind
right.
over matter. Next batter be Tikal.
What's that? Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll just say all the stuff I like to say at the end of my videos here, and then you guys can give any last words or plugs or whatnot. So, thanks to everyone for watching this Mindgasms Movie Chat. Hope you found us talking about it as interesting as we did. And thanks to those of you who clicked the like button on this video, subscribe to my channel, and click that bell on the page to be notified whenever I come out with new videos. I got more coming up soon. I got two more podcasts next week. Gonna do a part 2 of the sort of theological debate I had with my Orthodox Christian friend Shane and his Protestant Christian friend Justin, about an article on Jonathan Pageau's website, who's an Orthodox Christian artist and intellectual who got famous for being involved with Jordan Peterson, and his article is on Marshall McLuhan's Catholic perspective that the Protestant Reformation kind of ruined or even destroyed Christianity. So that was an interesting discussion / debate, and we just barely scratched the surface of all the questions and notes that I had made about the article that I wanted to talk to them about. So we're going to do part 2 of that next week, and then I'm also going to do a discussion with Reed Nice Wonder from Mixed Mental Arts, who also has a street epistemology channel called Cordial Curiosity, and his friend Nathan, who talked with Dusty and I, and also James Lindsay on a few episodes about that book, How to Have Impossible Conversations. And we're going to talk about a documentary that Reed suggested we discuss, which is called Mighty Ira, which is about a guy who was a former director of the ACLU who got famous for fighting for civil rights and then got even more famous or infamous, depending on how you look at it, for defending the free speech of Nazis in a town that was filled with Holocaust survivors. So that'll be an interesting documentary to talk about. And thanks especially to those of you who give me money on Patreon, which I always greatly appreciate. And and I guess like I always say, I love you all. Keep being the tiny beam of light that shines through the almost impenetrable darkness in the universe. And most importantly, always remember this: the funk cures all, and groove is in the heart. And watch awesome, fucked up science fiction, post-apocalyptic movies like Snowpiercer and Bong Joon-Ho's other movies like Parasite. And all right. Anything else you guys want to say before we end it there, or any plugs or anything like that?
Nope. Stay cool.
Yeah,
All right,
stay cool,
man. Yeah.
Yep. Next week, if you guys want to join us on a conversation about what is it called? The Planet of the Humans?
Yes, Planet of
That's
the
the name of the
Humans.
movie? Okay,
Yeah.
that'll be happening on my channel next week on Saturday. So that's going to be our movie chat of that week.
On Woke Centrist.
And like and subscribe to Andrew and get his give him some Patreon bucks.
Yes, I would really appreciate that. And subscribe to Justy's channel too, Woke Centrist, and check out our chat about that infamous documentary next week that's produced by Michael Moore, which is basically about how climate change activism has been captured by virtue signaling billionaires. So it's very controversial, of course, and temporarily got banned from YouTube.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
Planet of the Humans.
Planet of the Humans.
Yeah.
I'll check that out.
And it's on YouTube, right? Still?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Well, actually, last time I checked, I watched it on YouTube after it got put back on there. So it probably is still on there unless it got banned again.
Okay. I don't think it would have gone banned again.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, thanks, guys. Always fun to talk to you, especially about awesome movies like this. And yeah, so thanks everyone again for watching, and adios until next time.
Peace.